All right, welcome back to Wisdom Beyond the Classroom. We are joined with a very special guest and a dear friend of mine. She's amazing, Janet Mackay. Janet, thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. This is such a treat.
Absolutely. So Janet has done a lot of things. Janet is one of the kind of people that you want to have in your life. You will just be better for it. She is a motivational speaker. She's known for her passion and her high energy, really helping others to kind of live their best life and have more of positive energy. She's done many things. She has a signature talk. It's called The Power of the Drip. We're going to get into that, where she's been featured on both live and virtual stages, even has shared the stage with Les Brown. She is the founder of INPact Academy, which is a platform to share engaging stories through interviews with kids and adults and businesses around the world are jumping in to make an impact in people's lives. And she's also run summer youth camps for 14 years. So Janet is doing all kinds of things in the world, making a positive ripple. And it's really what she's all about. And it seems to be her message that she gives back and has people being able to do that for themselves as well. So again, Janet, it's a pleasure to have you here. The first thing I want to get into with you is that you do have this incredible energy. You're a joy to be around. Is this always been your sunny disposition? Were you always like this, or did this take some time to develop?
Thank you for that question. And it's ironic that I get asked that question quite often because people are like, "How?" And I
Yeah.
go, in all honesty, I honestly believe that I just came out of the womb in that regard to some degree. But
Hmm.
I think throughout the years, it's kind of cultivated because what I would do is I would kind of be in a situation. And I learned really early on in life where I fell in the chain as far as my family. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is that I was always the one that was the cheerful one. I was the one that would get the energy to shift in a room from
Hmm.
perhaps maybe challenging to positive, and it just kind of became my role, at
Hmm.
that time. So, but as I continued to grow and develop, it was just something that did come just innately for me. It was just something I think that God has put. I believe that, that there's a gift that's sown in everyone's heart. And I
Hmm.
think perhaps mine has been that positive energy. I think it's that light. And I truly believe that because of that, it's afforded me and given me these wonderful opportunities to help others see that joy and beauty in their life as well, especially during these times, the last
Hmm.
couple of years where it's been so challenging and so trying. And how do we help people to flip that switch from a crappy state to a happy state? And
Right.
what tools can we help provide that? And I just, life is such a gift. And
Mm.
I wake up every single day with so much gratitude for that which I have, that which I know that's coming, and that which I hope to create.
Mm.
And I know that when you put forth a vibration out into the world like that, you are it helps you be in the right lane, and opportunities will open for you if you're purposefully doing what it is you've been put here to do. But the
Mhm.
key to that is kind of identifying what that is, and how do I use those gifts. So that's something that
Right.
I love to do to help kids and people unleash and find, is
Mhm.
because life's too short to be grumpy.
Absolutely.
That's just, situations are going to happen. You're going to get, whipped upside the head. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be told things that are going to hurt your heart. I just went through that, and I was said, here I go, and I coach all of these people. Well, you know what, Janet Mackay, go look in the mirror because you need some personal coaching yourself right now to get through this situation. And, Les Brown says a beautiful thing when I was working with him, and it just resonated with me. And he said, you know what? You're going to get knocked down, but just make sure you land on your back, because if
Mhm.
you can look up, you can get up. And it just, I
Mhm.
was like, love this man. And,
Mhm.
it's just the way I just kind of choose to be and show up in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a choice, right? It's a choice of how you choose to be, the energy you bring, and what you focus on. Like you said, if you're waking up and you're focusing on gratitude right away, you're going to, well, that's what you're going to look for, and that's what you're going to attract more of. So
Mhm.
that's really important. Um, and so what's awesome is that you are also doing a free 45-minute session one-on-one with people that perhaps want to bring more of this kind of positive energy into their life, and more of, like, finding what someone's purpose is, because as you and I both believe, we are on purpose for a purpose. So that is amazing that you're doing that. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Very well.
um, and then apart from that, though, what are, I guess, if you just give some tidbits as far as, okay, you're not gonna do a one-on-one session with me, you're busy, you don't have time for that or whatever, but what do you think are just some very practical things that someone could do to either have, let's just say, a better disposition about their situation in life, or if they're interested in kind of finding more of what their purpose is and why they're here?
Great question. I think a lot of it, I think it's so important to realize that what we think about, we bring about, right?
Hmm.
And it's all energy. We are all energy. Our thoughts are energy, our feelings are energy, our bodies are energy. There's energy all around us. So, what
Hmm.
kind of energy are we putting out there? Because just like the law of attraction, whatever you put out comes back to you, you
Hmm.
know? And I think it's really important to really just sit there and reflect on how am I showing up in this world? Because we
Hmm.
all know, I call them the E words of society, where everything is doom and gloom and everything's going to be a problem. And they go into every situation thinking of
Right.
what could go wrong. And it's really helping people make that mindset shift.
Mm.
Um, so there's a couple of things, couple of tricks and tools that are so powerful. And the most important thing is, I call the power of the G, and that's the power of gratitude.
Mm.
And literally, no matter how crappy a situation is, there is always, 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 always something to be grateful for.
Yep.
And it could just be the moment that we're sharing right now. And it's not
Hmm.
thinking about yesterday, and it's not thinking about tomorrow. It's being present and in the moment, taking that deep breath, centering yourself, and just for 5 seconds, just think of just something that you're grateful for, and that really helps you make that shift.
Hmm.
I also I like to ask people to think of, this is going to be another talk that I'm doing, the gift of, like, in
Mm.
any situation, we have to sit there and say, well, what's the gift here? Because
Mm.
there always is one. There's the gift of, a great relationship. There's a gift of these books. There's a gift of, so finding the gift in every situation. And people who really struggle, there, I love following people and tuning in and tapping into those people that just kind of shock yourself. I'm on a discussion now with Nick Santiago. Oh, I can't think of his last name right now, and I'm butchering it right now. But Nick, he's doing a challenge, and here's a man. He's 25 years old, born with no legs, one arm,
Wow.
and you might have seen him on one of the talks that we were on, and
Hmm.
it's just about the power of the mind. You know,
Yeah.
somebody who's an amputee will sit there and say, how come you're so miserable, and you have legs, and yet
Hmm.
you have somebody who has no legs, and yet their life is magical, and they make
Right.
the best of every situation and overcome these obstacles and so many odds.
Hmm.
So we have to take a chance to reflect on that. And at night, I do this, and it's funny because my red book, and this is my gratitude journal, and I
Hmm.
literally will write things that I'm grateful for each and every day.
Oh,
And yes,
nice.
with technology we could put it in our phone, but there's magic and there's energy when you put pen to paper and
Hmm.
you write, because it gives
Hmm.
you a blueprint that you could then look back on. And my
Hmm.
daughter has picked up this book when it's on my nightstand, and she's opened it up. This was years ago, and she goes, "Whoa." She's like, "Mom, you're grateful for so many things." Well, guess what that then sets the tone for the people in your family. They then start thinking about parents. You have a teenager and they are in that attitude. We all know that attitude, right?
Mhm.
How I got that to shift, because there's been many times I have two children. One's 21, one's just turned 20. So I guess they're not children anymore, but in my eyes they are. Well, there was a couple of times where my teenager was just, in that state of,
Mm.
I don't know how I'm going to shift this one, because I'm either going to throw her out the window or I'm going to throw a brick to her head or do something, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
as parents, we all get there.
Yep.
Well, what I did is I said to her, you know what you're going to do? I said, you're going to go ahead and you're going to write 25 things that you're grateful for right at this moment. And I left the house because I was so beside myself. I just had to physically change my environment, because
Right.
otherwise
Right.
I was so upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back. And not only did she write those 25 things, but she wrote why she was grateful for those 20 things. And I received a thank you letter a thank you and an apology letter from that as well. Everything
Wow.
she did. Did she still lose her phone that night? Absolutely. But
Mm-hmm.
still, the shift and the energy in the room changed
Wow.
because she spent that time really thinking about what it is that she was grateful for.
Wow. That's awesome. That is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Yeah. The power of G. The
The
power of
power of
G
G.
is a
Gratitude.
real thing. Yeah.
Gratitude and the gift.
Gratitude and the gift in this
Gift
moment,
of.
right? There's so much.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fantastic answer, and something for us to like remember at times also. It can be like when you're like in that situation, you're tunnel visioned and like you're frustrated with something, that's what it's all about. You literally have to step back and be like, okay, what's the gift in this moment? What am I grateful for? And it changes everything. And like you said, energy is everything.
Yeah.
I love that answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, in talking about personal development, when did you actually start to really get into, like you said, in a lot of ways, your disposition was, the positive and the one with great energy and getting people and shifting people that way. But like, when did you really get into it? And I know that you've worked with Les Brown as well. And like, how did that come about?
I had a mentor in my early 20s named Lynn. And she was somebody that I worked for in a company. And she was that person. She was just this light. And for me, it did start in high school, but I didn't know what it was that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
She introduced me to the world of personal development. And she
Mm-hmm.
would have me listen to cassette tapes back in the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know what that is.
Right.
And I would play these tapes in my car, or I would play these tapes on my, and I was just like, whoa. And upon the first one, and I wish I could remember what that first one was, because it was
Mm.
so pivotal. But I was so hungry after I heard that, because I was like, it just resonated with every single fiber and cell within my body. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, what that did for me as far as how I wanted to show up in the world. And all of a sudden, as I'm talking with people, even in my young 20s, these messages would come out, or these sayings would come out that I might have heard, but yet it so resonated with me that I wasn't spitting back something that I had heard. It was literally coming from my soul and my heart.
Mm.
And I found it to be so, so, so important. And there was another mentor that I was very blessed with. And I love to have people find those mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And those mentors, perhaps they're not your parents, and often they're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's these people outside. Maybe it's a coach, or maybe it's a pastor, or maybe it's another friend's parent. But there are these people that just kind of take you under the wing, and then just let you know that the world is a gift and can be such a beautiful place,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are all here to be here for each other. We're
Yeah.
here to be in community. We're here to find people's strengths. We're here to acknowledge that people have differences and celebrate them. We're
Yeah.
here. And it was so, what the beautiful thing is now in this generation is that there is so much right at our fingertips. It's these podcasts like you have, and
Mm-hmm.
one that I'm starting. It's these, Google, oh my, and YouTube. I mean, it's just like, if you want to better yourself, there are so many opportunities to do that. And what I
Mhm.
encourage everyone to do is that so often we take a shower to bathe our body, we wash our car, we wash our clothes, we wash our floors in our house, but we have to wash our mind. We have
Mhm.
to fuel our mind with positive, thoughtful, thought provoking ideas and just ways to just massage this incredible muscle that we have, because everything that happens in the brain connects the body, mind, soul, and spirit. So if you're neglecting it, you how are you going to have anything to pull from when those moments happen that just throw you under that bus or cause so much distress in your life that you don't know how you're going to get out of it? And it's just
Mhm.
a beautiful, beautiful way to just fuel your mind. Read books, just there's so many resources that are out there. And I like to also provide people with those lists and tools, like what do you recommend, I'll send podcasts to people, I'll send
Mhm.
messages to people. I ooze motivation, but it's not even
Mhm.
just a motivation that just makes you feel good. It's
Mhm.
how do I use this feeling that I'm having right now to transform a situation to become a certain way,
Mhm.
so that it kind of, a lot of people think they have luck, but I truly believe that, luck occurs when opportunity, shows up, or opportunity meets preparation. And
Mhm.
Oprah's one of my other big mentors and fans. But
Mhm.
and I think that's really important, is you've got to invest in yourself, and you
Mhm.
have to use these tools, which is why I love your book. Mm, I do,
Thank you.
because everyone, if you have not read this book, Wisdom Beyond the Classroom by Ryan Lochte. This book is so well done. And if you have teenagers, they must read this book because it's so easy to read and you can relate to it. And there are nuggets in here that are just incredible that you can underline, make yours. And it's just a beautiful, these are tools that are not taught in the classroom. These are life lessons that people need to know so that they know how to handle a lockdown. They need to how to handle when something doesn't go the way that you want it to. How do you pivot and then shift to get it to where you want to go, or at least be grateful for the moment that and the situation that it's happening? Because a lot of people worry about failing, but
Mhm.
failure just gives you that opportunity to do something again with more
Mhm.
knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's just a way to shift your mind to do that. And it's just and I know I keep going because I get so excited, and I'm originally from New York, so I can't help myself. My kids and my people in my family are like, oh, here she goes again. Go ahead. I know you got something positive to say, because in every situation,
Mhm.
there's a way to flip it, to,
Mhm.
to get rid of that. Now, people who have that negative energy, you can feel it, right? Have you
Mhm.
ever walked
Totally.
into a room and you're like, oh, God, don't sit me next to that person? Although then
Oh, absolutely.
I try to help shift that.
Mhm.
Everyone has to realize that your energy is felt before you even walk into a room and open your mouth.
Mhm.
It's the way you present yourself. So it's so important to really just acknowledge that and take note of that,
Mhm.
and be the person that you want to be for someone else, because something that you say to somebody on any given moment could change their trajectory of that day, of that thought, of what they might have done to themselves later on that afternoon, if by chance you weren't that person that perhaps gave them that nice smile or
Mm.
did something for them to let them know that they were seen, that they were heard, and that they matter. And
Yeah.
with the way the suicide rates are right now, we
Mhm.
need now more than ever to be those people that are showing up when people don't realize that they need us for them.
Mhm.
And everyone in this world right now has to take responsibility to make sure that whoever they come in contact with, even if it's the barista at Starbucks, that you just acknowledge that they're a human being.
Mhm.
And there are so many stories right now of these young teens who are taking their lives.
Mm.
Why? Like, we need to be there for them. We need to give them the tools that they need so that when they feel isolated and alone, to know that they're not.
Mhm.
So how do we do that?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you make a lot of good points there, and I think it's really really important that we're our best selves and for other people, even if the contact is very very quick. Like you say with the Starbucks barista, And what that also makes me think of is I'm a huge fan of the Napoleon Hill books, and the last principle in the law of success is called the golden rule. And what
Mm,
he actually goes in and talks about is the golden rule isn't just what we think it is. It's like treat other people the way you want to be, the way they want to be treated. It actually starts in your thoughts. Think about other people the way you want them to think about you. So I think if you're carrying that kind of energy and you have those kind of, the things in your head that you said, like you shower you shower yourself, you shower your car, like shower yourself in your mind with the kind of positive things, and then that presents itself in your energy, that those thoughts and then the way you treat someone and speak to someone, like that really can be felt, and we just don't know how much of an impact something so small can have on somebody, and their worth. And so I think it's really, really important for us to keep in mind and to live life that way every day. So well put, Janet.
well, thank you. And like you said, it doesn't have to be something huge.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, and that's the power of the drip, is that
Mm-hmm.
all it takes is just one tiny drip that could change the trajectory. Because what I want people to realize is that you don't have to fix the whole world. Lord
Mm-hmm.
knows it's too hard to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
you do have full responsibility for your actions and your thoughts and the way you show up at any given moment. So how are
Mm-hmm.
you going to show up? Because in order for, I call it the global tsunami of kindness and compassion to be felt throughout the world, when I refer to the power of the drip, we all know that when a drip falls into a pool of water, upon impact, there's an energy that happens, but the energy doesn't stop at impact. You see the ripples that are continuously moving outward, ring by ring by ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, if each of us were to treat our thoughts and our actions and our words as simple little drips,
Mm-hmm.
think of the energy that's now cascading out. You might not see it, but it can always be felt. So,
Mm-hmm.
if Johnny and Susie and Mary and Leo and Viv and Mick from your book, if everyone at all throughout the day, it's drip, drip, and this energy is just continuously moving outward. I mean, think about the vibration of the community around you, with everybody is really intentionally, like you said, focusing on what it is that they're doing right, what they're doing right now to help make not the world be great, but where they are right now a
Mm-hmm.
better place to be, sitting
Yeah.
right here right now talking with you, going out to give my dog a walk, whatever that is. Just connect with people and know that you see them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to talk. My kids will always be like, I don't want to talk to them. I can't talk to people the way you can talk to people. I said, just acknowledge that they're there. Just look them in the eye, especially now we have masks on. You can't even see a smile on someone's face, but there's magic in your eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
there's magic in just a physical nod to them, and just to let them know that they're seen, heard, and
Mm-hmm.
that they matter a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. And to your point, yeah, you don't need to go out and try to, fix or change the whole world. I mean, that's I mean, what do we have? 8 billion people on the planet. But like you can do that in if you want to do that, you have to do it in just small ways, right? Just the small ways, and with what you're doing in your daily life and the people that are around you. And and doing that with the drip and creating a rippling effect is, I mean, really that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a visual that even kids are able to understand. And how Impact came to be was that I had started hearing stories, operating children's summer camps for so long and having, oh my gosh, over the years, thousands of kids that are coming through the program, is that you start hearing stories of people doing great things for great people. And one story that it all started was a 12-year-old girl, and she had heard that a teacher in her school has a special ability child.
mm-hmm.
I always like to say special ability. It's not a disability. It's a special
Mm-hmm.
ability. It's just a different way that they do things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or able to do things. Well, her son had wanted to learn how to ride a bicycle, but needed an adaptive tricycle in order to ride. and
Mm.
this bicycle was extremely expensive. So she had gathered a few friends and on their own raised money to present this teacher with a check so that
Mm.
she could buy her
That's so
get this
sweet.
tricycle for her son.
Mm.
I get chills every time I say it and think of it, and this was years ago. And every time I hear a story like that, I just think drip,
Mm-hmm.
ripple. Well, what happened and how this platform came to be is that we need to hear these stories and we need to showcase these stories to know that this is happening all throughout the world. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been so blessed to actually talk with people who are doing things in Guatemala, who are in Bali, who are in Africa, and I've had these beautiful stories shared with me that I showcased in Impact because I want people to know that there isn't a need for continuous negative news in the world, that there is all of this other stuff that's happening. So how can we link arms in a philanthropic way to know that if this is happening in Guatemala, it can also happen here in our country or some other country, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so much that's out there, and how do we link it together and get people to know about it? So I feel like that's the gift that's been placed on my heart to help showcase and let people know. And having moved here over this last year, some of that has gone to the been put on a shelf for a little bit, but
Yep.
um, in recent times now there seems to be a need for it again, and
Mm-hmm.
people have been reaching out to me to either share a story or say, come on, we've got to get back into this. and
Mm-hmm.
and it's been such a blessing because I've missed it, with life happening. And we have to realize too that life is going to happen, and we have to give ourselves grace. We
Mm-hmm.
have to
Totally.
sometimes go through some things and figure out some other things, because path your purpose will always bring you back to your lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is has resonated very true in, especially in the last month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so, as the founder of INPact Academy, it sounds like, are you going to have a podcast that centers around something with the INPact Academy or the Impact? Talk to
Yes,
us about that.
yeah, podcast is actually going to feature, because I have a lot of these stories recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be going back to showcase a lot of those interviews that I've done, and then start interviewing and bringing to life more stories as they're coming
Mm.
to me, and as this is starting to evolve again and grow. And I love the fact that people see me as someone that can be a conduit or voice to share what's happening and how they can and I love, especially when I interview these little kids, and
Mm-hmm.
with their parents sitting close by, and it's just so exciting because people, you have to realize how much power kids have, and
Mm-hmm.
they're hungry. They are so hungry for it. And when you
Mm.
give a child the opportunity to do good things for great people, they rise up to the occasion by far more than anything I've ever seen at
Mm-hmm.
all. They get so excited. It gives them purpose, and it lights a
Mm-hmm.
fire in their belly, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to do these good things. When a child is born, they're the center stage of everything. And then
Right.
as we get older, we kind of, we stop getting the trophies or the accolades or the special cakes for what we do. And, but yet, so if we can find these ways to make ourselves, because the minute you do something good for someone else, that gift is so given back to you just in that. And what you're putting forward, like how many
Mm-hmm.
times, speaking of Starbucks, you get up to the counter and they're like, oh, the person in front of you paid for your coffee, and you're like, oh, like it changes like everything about that moment. It makes
Right.
it so
Right.
like, I don't even know this person and she just bought my venti.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's just so wonderful. And when you give kids that opportunity to do that, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, it's teaching them more life lessons than they'll ever get out of
Mm-hmm.
a math textbook. And I'm not dissing math textbooks, but it's just, it's absolutely the most incredible thing that I have been so blessed to witness, and look forward to continuing to witness and put forth in it throughout the world. So yes, podcast is coming on the table. Working on a book, and just a bunch of wonderful, wonderful things that are just been dumped into my heart, downloaded to me to say, it's time to shine, get out there.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Wow, so you're it sounds like you're busy, and you have things on your plate that are going to continue to be this putting out amazing things into the world. Thank you for doing that. Um, so a question for you is, if you could go back in time and give your teenage self one piece of advice, what would that be?
This too shall pass. Yes, we all think, especially in our teenage years, that whatever's happening at that moment is everything about my life at that moment.
Hmm.
And good, bad, or indifferent, this too shall pass. It was the best advice that somebody had given me once, and that's just something that I will always just, you know what, it's gonna this you might be feeling this so much right now, but this too will pass, and in just a short period of time there'll be something else that's coming your way, and it could be something miraculous, it could be something challenging, but it'll still be something different.
Hmm. That's so true. It's so true when we're teenagers and even in adults when we get, if we have tunnel vision about something and we're so like, crazed about something, it's like, all right, it's going to pass. And then there's things, a lot of these things that happen, like we won't even remember them, right? Like I remember like, why was I upset about that? Or, why did we have an argument about that? It's like, I don't remember.
I know
Yes.
the story you put in your head is so far worse than anything. Like then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that really wasn't. They weren't even mad at me,
Right, right,
and what.
exactly.
That's why I love the movie Frozen so much, because it's just like let it go, and it's just like let it go, and I just love
Yep,
everything about that whole message that they put out there.
it's so true. It's
Lead
so
with
true.
love. That's the other. I have to just throw that one in too.
Which one?
Just always lead with love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're allowed to say another one. That's totally good. Lead with love, absolutely. Yeah, and what you're putting out is what you get back, right? As we know, the secret to living is giving, and if you're leading with love, it's typically what you're going to get back, and then but it's just the thing you want to do for the other person to see things in a good light, right? If as an example, if you're coming to a situation that might be a little heated, maybe there's some tension there, but you lead with love, I mean, you're going to have the best outcome compared to if you didn't lead with love and you came with anger or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah, and it's really important too when you're in those conversations with people is to reflect it back to them. And something that's been a powerful message is to say, so what I'm hearing you say is blah blah blah, because so
mhm,
often we'll react to something, but we're not fully understanding where they're coming from. So by reflecting it back to them, it just helps guide a conversation a little bit more to make sure there's a mutual understanding of what that situation and conversation is.
mhm.
So I find that to be a pretty valuable tool to help deflate perhaps a heated somewhat of a discussion. And I'm not Mary
Yeah.
Poppins all the time, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah,
People are like, oh my gosh. I'm like, it takes a lot more than a spoonful of sugar to keep this lady happy. But it's
right.
just, it definitely is, a choice. And, and when we go through those moments to just, you know what, we're human, we're
Mhm,
going to get upset. We're going to want to throw things. We're going to maybe say some things that come out of our mouth that we don't want to have come out of their mouth, but it just
mhm.
does. And we're human. We have to give ourselves grace.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah,
really do. And give the
absolutely.
people next to you the same grace. Just give them space, take time to breathe, and just know that this too shall pass.
This too shall pass. It's very true. So where can we find you, Janet? If somebody wants to reach out to you or if they want to take you up on that free 45-minute session with you, where can we find you?
Oh, please do. I'd love to connect with so many of you beautiful souls. I on my website at Janet Mackay, JanetMackay.com. Super simple, and you can just
Mhm.
say connect with me, and I will be at your beck and call.
Awesome. Well, Janet, it has been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure too. I don't call it spend, but invest time with you. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much, and thank you again for this beautiful charm of a book.